Good morning. We are reading The Last Vampire, Red Blood. And when we left Friday, Sita was talking to her friend Seymour. So, let's begin. I'm sorry, Sita. I didn't mean to imply that you did, and I don't mean to sound cold and cruel. I'm not, you know. I'm just a high school kid and a lousy writer on top of that. You're too brilliant to be lousy at anything. Please continue with your analysis. How can I get Joel out alive and blow the place up? He hesitates. You might not be able to do both, I nod to myself. This could be a suicide mission. I've thought of that, I add sadly. Won't you miss me? He speaks with feeling. Yes. Come here tonight. Make me a vampire. I'll help you. You're not vampire material. Why? I'm not sexy enough? Oh, that's not the problem. If you were a vampire, I'm sure you'd be a sex machine. It's just that you're too special to be. My voice falters as I think of Arturo. To be contaminated by my blood. Sita, what's wrong? I swallow past my pain. It's nothing. The past. That's the trouble with living for 5,000 years. I have so much past. It's hard to live in the present when all that history is inside you. Your blood saved my life, Seymour says gently. How are you feeling? Are the HIV tests still negative? Yes, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. When do you see Andy next? In a few hours near dawn. Then, when he returns to work in the evening, I plan to stow away in the trunk of his car. Ooh. My thinking is there's a point to her talking about Arturo and the scientist. Is there a connection? You'll need his cooperation. You can't go searching the compound for Joel, and Andy will cooperate one way or the other. I pause. Is there anything else you can tell me about that? Tell me that might help. Yeah, practice. Yes, practice that levitating trick. You never know when it'll come in handy. I don't know what's causing it. Obviously, Yaksha's blood. He must have developed the ability over the centuries. Could he fly when you knew him in India? He never demonstrated that he could. You vampires are all full of surprises, I sigh. You're so anxious to become like me. You envy my powers, but what you don't know is that I envy you more. Seymour's surprise. What do I have that you could possibly want? I think of Lalita, my daughter, but I cannot talk about children on this of all nights. You're human, is all I say. Alrighty. Does anyone else knows the influence of Anne Rice from the Vampire Chronicles? I do. Alright. When Andy gets to my suite, he acts stressed out but excited. He is in the door only a minute when I give him a hard kiss on the lips. He wants more and reaches for it, but I push him away. Later, I whisper. The night is still young. It's almost morning, he says, recalling my line from the night before. I turn away. I want to gamble first. For a degenerate gambler, I know dice are better than sex. Now you're talking, Laura, he says. We go down to the casino. It's only a few days before Christmas, but the place is packed. The image of a nuclear bomb exploding on the strip haunts me. Of course, that will never happen, even if we set A nuclear warhead to go off at the compound. It would not affect Las Vegas except for slight fallout. If the wind is blowing the wrong way, I wonder if Seymour's dream means I will succeed in my mission or fail. A glowing angel flying above the world. We play craps, dice, and I am the designated roller. Without trying, I throw 10 passes in a row, and the table cheers me on. Andy bets heavily, wins plenty, drinks even more. Before we leave the first table, he is drunk. I scold him. How can you be a scientist when you keep killing off your brain cells, I ask. He laughs, throwing an arm over my shoulder. I'd rather be a lover than a scientist. We walk down the strip to another casino, the Excalibur. Here it is even more crowded. It is a fact that the town never sleeps. We play blackjack 21. I count cards, only betting heavily when the deck favors the player. But the advantage from... Oh my God. Betting heavily when the deck favors the player. But the advantage from even perfect counting is limited, and we didn't win any money. Andy drags me back to the dice table, his favorite. The dice come to me, and again I throw another 6 passes in a row. But I don't want Andy to win too much and be free of debt. Just as the sun begins to color the sky, I drag him back to the Mirage, to my hotel suite. Once there, he falls on my bed, exhausted. I hate what I do, he mutters to the ceiling. I hate that I can't read his mind. It must be the booze. I sit beside him. Another hard night at work. I shouldn't talk about it. You can. Don't worry. I'm good at keeping secrets. My boss is crazy. The general? Yes. He is stark raving mad. What do you mean? What is he doing? Andy sits up and glances at me with bloodshot eyes. Remember I told you we were working on an amazing discovery? Yes. You said it was one of the greatest discoveries of modern time. I smile. I thought you were trying to impress me. He shakes his head. I wasn't exaggerating. We're playing with explosive genetic material, and that's putting it mildly. This general has ordered us to artificially clone it. Do you know what that means? I nod. You're going to make more of it. In a test tube. Yes. That's the layman's view, but it is essentially correct. He stares out the window at the glitter that is the strip. When he speaks again, his voice reflects the horror he feels. We're going to try to duplicate something that, if it got out, could affect all of mankind. It is worse than I thought. The charade must end. He has given me an opening. I must seize it. Andy, I whisper. He looks at me. I catch his eyes. Yes, Laura, he says. I do not push him, not yet. But I do not let him turn away either. A narrow tunnel of whirling blue fog exists between us. He is at one end, chained to a hard wall, and I am steadily rushing toward him. Shadows at my back. I hold his attention but slightly blur his focus. Since ingesting Yaksha's blood, my mind-altering abilities are more refined, more powerful. I have to be careful. I don't destroy his brain. My name is not Laura. He tries to blink and fails. What is it? It doesn't matter. I'm not who I appear to be. I pause. I know what you are working on. He hesitates. How? I know your prisoner. He's a friend of mine. No. Yes. I lied to you last night, and I'm sorry. I won't lie to you anymore. I came to Las Vegas for the purpose of freeing my friend. I touch his knee. But I didn't come to hurt you. I didn't know I would end up caring for you. He has to take a breath. I don't understand what you're saying. I have to relax my hold on him. The pressure inside his skull is building. Sweat stands out on his forehead. Standing. I turned my back to him and walked to the window to look out at the strip. The Christmas decorations glitter, even amid the neon in the faint light of the dawn. But you do understand, I say. You are holding a prisoner, Joel Drake. He is an FBI agent, but since you have begun to examine him, you have come to see that he is much more than that. His blood is different from that of most humans, and this difference makes him very strong, very quick. That's why you keep him locked up in a special cell. Your general tells you he is dangerous, yet this same general makes you and your partners work night and day so that you can change more people's blood to match that of the supposedly dangerous prisoner. I pause. Is this not accurate, Andy? He is a long time answering. His voice comes out hesitantly. How do you know these things? I turn to face him. I told you, I am his friend. I am here to rescue him. I need your help. Andy can't stop staring at me. It's as if I'm a ghost. They said there was another, he mumbles. Yes. Are you the one? Yes. He winces. Are you like him? Yes. He puts his hand on his head. Oh, God. One more. I sit beside him on the bed. We are not evil, I say. I know what you must have been told, but it is not true. We only fight when threatened. The men and women who died in L.A. tried to arrest us. We didn't want to harm them, but they came after us. They cornered us. We had no choice but to defend ourselves. His head is buried in his hands. He is close to weeping. But you killed many others before that night. That is not true. The one who did the killing, he was an aberration. His name was Eddie Fender. He accidentally got hold of our blood. I stopped him, but Eddie is a perfect example of what can happen if the blood gets out. You said it yourself a moment ago. It could affect all of humanity. Worse, it would destroy all of humanity. I'm here to stop that. I'm here to help you. He peers up at me, his fingers still covering much of his face. That is why you can throw the dice the way you do. Yes. What else can you do? I shake my head. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that more people are not allowed to become like me and my friend. How many are there of you? He asks. I thought there were just 2 of us left, but I suspect you have another at the compound. I pause. Do you? He turns away. I can't tell you. I don't know who you are. Yes, you know me better than anyone. You have seen what my DNA is like. He stands and walks to the far wall. He puts a hand on it for support, breathing rapidly. The man you speak of, Joel, he is ill. He has a fever, severe cramps. We don't know what to do with him, and he struggles. My revelation is too much for him. Do you know? He asked. Yes. Have you kept him out of the sunlight? Yes. He is in a cell in a basement. There is no sun. He pauses. Is he allergic to the sun? Yes. and for Andy frowns. But does it make him ill? I told you he doesn't. He doesn't see it. The sun is not what makes him ill. I was only ruling out a possibility. He is sick because he is hungry. But we have fed him. It doesn't help. You are not feeding him what he needs. What is that? Blood. Andy almost crumbles. No, he moans. You're like vampires. I stand and approach him cautiously, not wishing to scare him worse than I already have. We are vampires, Andy. Joel has been one only a few days. I changed him in order to prevent him from dying. Eddie had mortally wounded him. Believe me, I don't go around making vampires. It's against my principles. Andy struggles to get a grip on himself. Who made you? A vampire by the name of Yaksha. He was the first of our kind. When was this? A long time ago. When? He demands. 5,000 years ago. My revealing my age does not help the situation. The strength goes out of Andy. He slides to the floor, rolling into a ball. He recoils as I come closer. I halt in mid-stride. What do you want from me? He mumbles. Your help. I need to get into your compound and get my friend out before the world is destroyed. It is that simple. The danger is that great, and you know I am not exaggerating. Our blood in the hands of your general is more dangerous than plutonium in the hands of terrorists. Andy nods weakly. Oh, I believe that. Then you will help me? My question startles him. What? How can I help you? You're some kind of monster. You're the source of this danger. I speak firmly. I have walked this world since the dawn of history. In all that time there have been only myths and rumors of my existence, and the existence of others like me. And those myths and rumors weren't based on fact. They were just stories, because in all this time none of us has set out to destroy humanity. Yet your general will do this, whether he wants to or not. Listen to me, Andy. He has to be stopped, and you have to help me stop him. No. Yes. Do you want him to clone Joel's blood? Do you want that material shipped to a weapons plant in the heart of the Pentagon? Anger shakes Andy. No, I want to destroy the blood. I don't need your lectures. I know what it can do. I have studied it inside out. Do you think he may help her? Let's see. I move closer, kneel on the floor beside him. Look at me, Andy. He lowers his head. You might cast a spell on me. I don't need spells to convince you of the truth. I am not the enemy. Without my assistance, you won't be able to stop this thing from progressing to the next level. Try to imagine a society where everyone has our vampire strength and appetites. The visions I conjure make him sick. You really drink human blood? Yes, I need it to live, but I don't need to kill or even harm the person I drink from. Usually they don't even know what has happened. They just wake up the next day with a headache. My remark causes him to smile unexpectedly. I wake up with a headache this evening. Did you drink some of my blood without my knowing? I chuckle softly. No. Your headaches are your problem. Unless you can cut down on the booze, your liver is going to give out. I listened to the advice of a listen to the advice of a 5,000-year-old doctor. He looks at me. You're not really that old, are you? I was alive when Krishna walked the earth. I met him, in fact. What was he like? Cool. Krishna was cool? Yeah, he didn't kill me. He mustn't have thought I was a monster. Andy is calming down. I'm sorry I called you that. It's just, well, I never met a vampire before. I mean, I was never in a hotel room with one. Aren't you glad you didn't sleep with me last night? He obviously forgot that small point. Would I have been changed into a vampire? It takes more than sex with an immortal to make you immortal. I speak delicately, but you may know that. He is grim. There has to be a blood transfer to bring about the change. I imagine a lot of blood is involved. Yes, that is correct. Have you experiments established that? We have established a few things, but the human immune system reacts violently to this kind of blood. It embraces it and at the same time tries to destroy it. We have postulated that a large infusion of this DNA code would transform the entire system. Actually, we think your DNA would just take over and replicate itself throughout every cell in the body. He pauses. Is that what happened when Yaksha changed you? I hesitate. I don't want to give him information that could be used later. When he changed me, I was young. I cried through most of it. He is dead now. Yes. When did he die? A few days ago, I had. He wanted to die. Why? I smile faintly, sadly. He wanted to be with Krishna. That was all that mattered to him. He was evil when he changed me. But when he died, he was a saint. He loved God very much. Andy stares at me, mystified. You're telling me the truth? I nod weakly. The thought of Krishna always shakes me. Yes, maybe I should have told you from the beginning. You see, I was going to try to hypnotize you. I was going to seduce you and offer you money and set your head spinning until you didn't know what you were doing. I touch his leg gently. But none of that is necessary now. You are a true scientist. You seek the truth. You don't want to harm people, and you know that this blood can harm many people. Give it back to me. I know how to care for it, to keep it out of harm's way. If I help you into the compound, they will lock me away for the rest of my life. Vehicles go in and out of the compound all day. I've observed them from a distance. You can bring me inside your trunk. When no one is looking, I will climb out and no one will blame you. Andy's not convinced. Your friend is in a cell in the basement of our main lab. The walls of the cell are made of special metal alloy. Even you couldn't break through. I know for a fact your partner can't. I've watched him try. Also, your friend is under constant surveillance. Cameras watch him 24 hours a day. Then there is the security of the camp itself. It is surrounded by towers. The soldiers inside these towers are well armed. The place is a fortress. There are tanks and missiles behind every building. He pauses. You won't be able to break him out. This special cell where Joel is being held, how does the door to it open? There is a button on a control panel just outside the cell. Push it and the door swings aside. But it is a long way from my car trunk to that button. It is longer way back outside the compound. To escape with your friend, you'll have to become invisible. I nod. We can go over point by point the security of the camp, but for now, answer my earlier question. Is there another vampire in the place? He hesitates, lowers his head. Yes. How long has he been there? A month. Yes. Was he captured in Los Angeles? Yes. He's a black youth. He lived in South Central LA before he was changed. Andy looks up. But he never said anything about an Eddie. The person who changed him was someone else. I forgot the name right now. My theory was correct. That other person was changed by Eddie. Trust me. I know the ultimate source of this other vampire. Where is he located in relation to Joel? In the cell beside Joel, but he's virtually comatose. He has the same disease as your friend. Cramps. And fever. Andy shakes his head. We didn't know what to do for him. He never asked for blood. Your people must have captured him right after he was changed. No one told him what he is now. It isn't pleasant to contemplate the pain this poor soul is going through. I'll have to take him out as well. You'll have to carry him then. I can do that if I have to. Andy stays me. You say you are so old. That must mean you're smarter than we short-lived mortals. If you are, you must know how the odds are stacked against you. I have always managed to beat the odds. Look how well I do at the dice tables. You will probably die if you do this. I'm not afraid to die. He is impressed. You really aren't a monster. You're much braver than I am. I take his hand. I was wrong a minute ago when I said your helping me would put you at risk. It will take a brave man to sneak me inside the compound in the trunk of his car. He squeezes my hand. What's your real name? Sita, I add. Few people have known me by that name. He touches my red hair. I was wrong only to say your blood scares me. It fascinates me as well. He pauses and a sly grin crosses his face. Sex is not enough to make me immortal. It hasn't worked in the past, but these days are filled with mysterious portents. An unexpected warmth for him flows over me. His eyes, they have hypnotized me with their uncanny depth, their gentle kindness. Smiling, I lean over and hug him and whisper in his ear, the dawn is at hand. In ancient times, it is considered a time of transformation, of alchemy. I'll stay with you for now, I pause. Who knows what may happen? Ooh. We're in chapter 12. My goodness. Moving along. All right. I dream a dream I've had before, a dream that seems to go on forever. It takes place in eternity, at least my idea of such a place. I stand on a vast grassy plain with a few gently sloping hills in the far distance. It is night, yet the sky is bright. There is no sun, but 100 blue stars blaze overhead, shimmering in a long, nebulous river. The place feels familiar to me. The air is warm, saturated with sweet aromas. Miles away, a large number of people walk into a vessel, the violet-colored spaceship of a gigantic proportions. Ooh. The vessel shines from the inside with divine radiance, almost blinding in its brilliance. I know it is about to depart, that I am supposed to be on it. Yet I cannot leave until I have finished speaking with Lord Krishna. He stands beside me on the wide plain, his gold flute in his right hand, a red lotus flower in his left. We both have on long blue gowns. He wears an exquisite jewel around his neck, the Kastaduba gem, in which the destiny of every soul can be seen. He stares up at the sky, waiting for me to speak, but I cannot remember what we are discussing. My lord, I whisper, I feel lost. His eyes remain fixed on the stars. You feel separate from me. Yes, I don't want to leave you. I don't want to go to earth. No, you misunderstand. You are not lost. The entire creation belongs to me. It is a part of me. How can you be lost? Your feeling of separation gives rise to your confusion. He glances my way. Finally, his long black hair blowing in the soft wind. The stars shimmer in the depths of his dark eyes. The entire creation is there. His smile is kind. The feeling of love that pours from him overwhelming. You have already been to earth. You are home now. Is this possible? I whisper, straining my remember. Faint recollections of being on earth come to me. I recall a husband, a daughter. I can see her smile, yet a dark film covers them. I view them from a peculiar perspective, from a mind I can scarcely believe is connected to me. In front of them many centuries stretch out, choked with endless days and nights, suffering people, all awash in blood, blood that I have spilled. I have to force the question from my lips. What did I do on earth, my lord? You wanted to be different. You were different. It doesn't matter. This creation is a stage, and we all play roles as heroes and villains alike. It's all a Maya illusion. But did I sin? My question amuses him. It is not possible. I glance toward the waiting vessel. It is almost full. Then I don't have to leave you. He laughs. Sita, you have not heard me. You cannot leave me. I am always with you, even when you think you are on earth. He changes his tone. He becomes more of a friend than a master. Would you like to hear a story? I have to smile. Although I'm more confused than ever. Yes, my lord, I say. He considers. There was once a fisherman and his wife who lived in a small town by the ocean. Every day the fisherman would go out to sea in his boat, and his wife would stay behind and care for the house. Their life was simple but happy. They loved each other very much. The wife had only one complaint about her husband. He would eat only fish. For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he would eat only what he caught. It didn't matter what she cooked and baked, bread or pastries, rice or potatoes. He would have none of it. Fish was his food, he said, and that was the way it had to be. From an early age he had been this way. He had taken his vow. His wife could not understand. It came to pass one day that his wife finally got fed up with his limited diet. She decided to trick him, to mix a piece of cooked lamb in with the fish. She did this cleverly, so that from the outside the fish looked as if it had been straight from the sea, but hidden beneath the scales of the fish was the red meat. When he returned home that evening, he sat down at the table, and the fish was waiting for him. At first he ate the meal with great relish, noticing nothing amiss. His wife sat beside him, eating the same food, but when he was halfway through, he began to cough and choke. He couldn't catch his breath. It was only then he smelled something odd on his plate. He turned to his wife, eyes blazing with anger. "What have you done?" he demanded. "What is in the fish?" The wife sat back and scared. "Only a little lamb. I thought you might enjoy the change." At these words, the fisherman wiped the plate from his table onto the floor. His anger knew no bounds. Still, he could not catch his breath. It was as if the lamb had caught in his windpipe and refused to shake loose. "You poisoned me," he cried. "My own wife has poisoned me." "No, I only want to feed you something different." She stood and slapped him on the back, but it did not help. "Why are you choking like this?" The fisherman fell onto the floor, turning blue. "Don't you know," he gasped, "don't you know who I am?" "You are my husband, my wife," cried, kneeling beside him. "I am," the fisherman whispered. "I am what I am." Those were his last words. The fisherman died, and as he did, his body changed. His legs turned into a large flipper. His skin became covered with silver scales. His face bulged out, and his eyes became blank and cold, because, you see, he was not a person. He was a fish, which is what he had been all along. As a big fish, he could eat only smaller fish. Everything else was poison to him. Krishna paused. "Do you understand, Sita?" "No, my lord." "It doesn't matter. You are what you are. I am what I am. We are the same. When you take the time to remember me, Krishna, when you take the time to remember me." Krishna raises his flute to his lips. "Would you like to hear a song?" "Very much, my lord." Close your eyes. Listen closely. The song is always the same, Sita, but it always changing too. That is the mystery. That is the paradox. The truth is always simpler than you can imagine. I close my eyes and Lord Krishna begins to play his magical flute. For a time, outside of time, that is all that matters. The music of his enchanted notes floats on a wind that blows from the heart of the galaxy. Overhead the stars shine down on us as the universe slowly revolves and the ages pass. I do not need to see my Lord to know that he is present everywhere. I do not need to touch him to feel his hand on my heart. I do not need anything except his love. After a while, that is all there is, the divine love pouring through the center of my divine being. Truly, we are one and the same. All right. Now, we are on chapter 13. And then I will be stopping for the day. I lie flat on my back in the trunk of Andy's car. My hearing is acute. Up ahead, I hear the noises of the compound, the guards talking at the gate. The blackness in the trunk is not totally dark to me. I clearly see the white lab coat I have donned, the fake security badge pinned to my breast pocket. The badge is an old one of Andy's. I have cleverly put my picture over his and changed the name. I am Lieutenant Laura Adams, PhD, microbiologist, on loan from the Pentagon. Andy says a large number of scientists have arrived from back east. My makeup makes me look older. I should be able to blend in. We stop at the security gate. I hear Andy speak to the guards. Another long night, Harry? Andy asks. Looks like it, the guard replies. Are you working till dawn? Close. This night shift is a bear. I don't know whether I'm coming or going. Andy hands something to the guard, a pass that must be electronically scanned. He has to have one to leave the compound as well. I have one in my back pocket. Andy continues in a natural voice. I just wish I could do a little better at the tables and quit this stupid job. I hear you, the guard says. How's your luck been holding out? I won a couple of grand last night. Guard laughs. Yeah, how much did you lose? Andy laughs with him. 3 grand. The guard hands the pass back. Have a good night. Don't piss off the man. I hear Andy nod. It's a little late for that. We drive into the compound. Andy has promised he'll park between 2 sheds, out of sight of the man towers. From an earlier examination of the place, I am familiar with the spot. As the car moves, I feel confident we are heading straight for it. Especially when Andy turns to the left, stops, and turns off the engine. He climbs out of his car, shutting the door behind him, and walks away. I listen to his steps as he enters the main lab. So far, so good. Okay. I pop open the trunk and carefully peer out. The car sits in shadow. No one is around. After slipping out of the car, I silently close the trunk. I smooth my lab coat over my slim body, adjust my red hair. My thick glasses make me almost nerdy, but smart. Laura Adams from back east, I whisper. Back east means the Pentagon, Andy said. They never call the place by name. You have to get to the general. You have to control him. Seymour's advice remains with me, resisting the temptation to follow Andy into the main lab, where I know Joel is being held captive. I turn instead in the direction of a small house located behind the lab. That is the general's private quarters. I move onto his front steps, then pause. I don't press the doorbell. I know without knocking that there is no one at home. Andy warned me of this. In fact, he said the general was seldom at home. Andy wants me to get Joel and get the hell out of the place as quickly as I can. He doesn't, of course, know I need to control the general in order to blow the place up. But I have warned him that when the fireworks starts, he should get out of the compound as quickly as possible. For a moment, I stand undecided. The general knows you'll come for Joel. Seymour is wise, but I still think he overestimates the intelligence of the man. For example, I tell myself, look how easily I entered the compound. The general couldn't know that I was on my way. Certainly, I can't search the entire compound for him. I decide to have a peek at Joel. After seeing exactly where he is, I'll be in better position to figure out what to do next. I head back to the front entrance of the lab where Andy disappeared. The interior of the lab is a complex maze of halls and offices. It seems clear the real work of dissecting and analyzing is downstairs. Men and women in lab coats mill about. There's an occasional armed soldier. No one pays any attention to me. Listening for an elevator, I hear the sound of people going up and down steps. I prefer stairways to an elevator. The latter can be a death trap for any invading vampire. I find the stairs and go down a couple of flights. Andy told me Joel is being held 2 stories below the surface. That his cell is at the east end of the building, the farthest from the main gate. On this lower floor, there are fewer people. They speak in soft tones, moving like the sharp professional I'm supposed to be. I make my way down a narrow hall toward the rear of the building. Faintly, I smell Joel's scent, but I cannot hear his heart beating, his breathing. The walls of his cell must be thick. The scent is my compass, and I follow it carefully, sensitive to the way it is spread by the ventilation ducts, the passage of people. I come to a security center, equipped with monitors and 2 armed soldiers. I hear everything inside the closed room. Cracking the door, I peer inside and see Joel on one of the screens. He sits in the corner of a brightly lit cage, pinned to the corner by a metallic wrist chain. I do not see another vampire on a operator monitor. Odd. Do you think Andy was lying? I close the door and knock. One of the guards answers, "Yes, can I help you?" "Yes, my name is Dr. Laura Adams." I nod to Joel on the screen. "I'm here to talk to our patient." The guard glances at his buddy and back to me. "You mean over the speaker, right?" "I prefer to talk to him in person," I say. The guard shakes his head. "I don't know what you've been told, but no one talks to the patient directly, only over the speaker." He pauses, glances at my badge, my breasts. Boys will be boys. "Who gave you clearance to interview the guy?" "General Harver." The guy raises an eyebrow. "He told you himself?" "Yes. You can check with him if you like." I nod to the interior of the room. "May I come in?" "Yes." The guard stands aside. "What did you say your name was?" "Dr. Laura Adams." I gesture to the monitor. "I see this guy, but where is he really?" "Nearby." "He's just around the corner," the other guard answers, while his buddy reaches for the phone. "He's in a box so thick an atomic bomb couldn't blast through it." "Oh," I say. That is useful information. My hands lash out, my fingers cutting the air like knives. Both guards crumble on the floor unconscious, not dead. I hang up the phone. Around the corner I go. I push the large red button to open the cage. There's a hiss of air. A door as thick as a man's body swings aside. "Joel!" I cry softly, seeing him huddled in the corner, chained to the wall, burning like dying coal as he shakes. I rush toward him. "I'm going to get you out of here." "Sita," he gasps. "Don't!" The door slams shut at my back, locking me in. Overhead, a TV monitor comes to life. Andy stares down at me. Behind him stands the cruel-faced General Harver, wearing a barely disguised smirk. Yet there is no joy in Andy's expression as he slowly shakes his head and sighs. It is strange, but it is only then I see my adversary clearly. The many years have reshaped his face, dulled his eyes, bruised his soft voice. Yet it is no excuse, not for a vampire as supposedly as careful as I am. Right from the start, I should have known who it was I was dealing with. Sita, he says sadly, with a faint Italian accent. Es pasó tanto tiempo dal Inquisition. Sita, it's been a long time since the Inquisition. In a single horrifying instant, I understand everything. Arturo, I whisper. Okay. So, yes, the scientist was Arturo. Well, that's where I'm going to stop for today. And tomorrow we will be starting chapter 14. Now, and for your own information, if you missed the last Vampire Book 1, it's on my YouTube channel, and I am slowly uploading Black Blood. So, if this is self-promotion time, if you like YA horror mystery adventures about two teens in a romance, and you like vampires, and you like spooky and creepy stories like Fear Street and The Lost Boys, you may like Vampire Juice. And here is my book synopsis. Amanda and Sean stumble upon a mysterious can of juice while searching for Halloween costumes at a local store. Despite being kicked out by the sales clerk, they become obsessed with uncovering the truth behind the strange drink. With the help from some local bullies, they sneak back into the store through a crypt in the graveyard, only to find themselves in the midst of a spine-chilling adventure. Here's my question. How does one turn into a vampire? Is it like The Last Vampire? Do they get bitten? Or do they drink the strange drink? Interesting ideas. Well, my link is in the bio. Once again, thank you for watching. And tomorrow, we will be reading Red Dice. And to see what happens to Sita. And thank you for watching.